applying for Flavour. I'm laughing, and I'm going to be completely honest. They talk about kitchen fails. So I'm in my kitchen. This is a fail. We were doing this intro and talking about food stuff, and I was introducing Bev, and then I went, oh my God, we're not even recording the audio. Such a loser. Okay. Welcome.
Kitchen fail number 1.
Kitchen fail number 1. Well, it's a fail in my kitchen.
Yeah, well, they all count.
So I couldn't talk kitchen stuff without my friend Bev. Bev Wills, of course, is the publican, is the official title at Finn McCool's here in Sudbury. And we're always talking kitchen stories and stuff about after hours and commercial stuff and at home stuff. So I thought if I was going to do a kitchen fails episode,
yeah,
we're just basically going to share some tips and share some stories, and then hopefully you learn something to sort of make your kitchen experience a little less stressful. And as I was going to say, we're not day drinking because you'll see us sipping on these. It's like a first for me, not drinking on the show. We're trying to be good doobies because warmer weather's coming. So this is an iced herbal tea. So it is. So I was explaining to her that I do this a lot, especially when I want something refreshing. And instead of, sometimes it's warm out and I'm thirsty and you're getting kind of bored of water. And aside from me buying store-bought stuff, I always have a whole selection of herbal teas in the cupboard. So I just pulled out. So I had a raspberry one. That's what we're having today. But I did peach the other day, and
it's a cold brew. You just steep it in the fridge.
I put 2 tea bags in my little carafe, and I filled it with filtered water, and I leave it in my fridge.
I don't know why I would never have thought of that, but I didn't, and now I like it.
It makes you go shopping for herbal teas differently. Like there's like lemon ginger ones. They'd be so good, right?
That would be good.
And of course, you can turn them into a cocktail, but that's another show. How Steph sneaks alcohol into anything. And then I made a couple of salads, and yes, I will put the recipes on the show notes just for those. So this one is a blue cheese. It's a Waldorf salad. So there's green apple and celery and grapes and raisins, and I said walnuts, and crumbled blue cheese, a touch of buttermilk, and mayonnaise, essentially. So it's a good one to let just sort of sit in the fridge ahead of time. And then you can have that. That's actually fantastic, again, with chicken. So if you want to make an entree out of it. I've also actually added in wraps and on sandwiches too. If you chop up the stuff good.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
And then the other one, just again, we're trying to stay a little healthy. So this is the chicken. It's a broccoli quinoa salad that I added leftover cooked chicken to. That was already seasoned with like lemon and herbs and stuff. And I just added celery leaves and oil and white wine vinegar, and just kind of kept it simple with lemon juice.
Do you feel like if you go to the grocery store and you buy like a whole roasted chicken for $8-9, that's the best value?
I love whole roasted chicken. I actually buy...
You can't even roast it at home for that sometimes.
No, and I've been ordering from local farmers here. So they're frozen when I get them. Okay. So I always make sure I always have a few whole chickens in my freezer that I can pull out whenever.
Yeah, versatile.
You got to plan it out though when they're that frozen, right? Because it's not exactly they take 2 seconds to...
It's a true story. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start off with...
That would be another kitchen fail.
That would be another kitchen fail.
Oh, yeah.
I got, chicken. I remember, have you heard about this? That when you buy chicken that has been frozen, that there's ice that forms in the bones. Because I was looking it up. It doesn't matter how long. I have braised and cooked chicken for long periods of time, and it still looks pink in the center.
It does. Yes, and I've heard that as well. And in my business, we battle that sometimes. I mean, we like, hey, it's cooked, I promise.
Yeah,
but the guest doesn't know that, and I feel it for them.
Yep, and it got to a point where I know for a lot of larger events and things like that I would do in catering after a while, I would specifically, it's the dark meat's the issue.
Yep.
It's never the white meat, right?
Absolutely.
So I would always kind of push towards chicken breast or braised things, and I would never buy dark meat that was frozen first. Because I was so paranoid, because I had one lady argue with me for the longest time, and I was trying to explain to her how long that damn chicken was in like slow cookers, reheated in the oven, like it was beyond cooked.
Yeah, it's too bad because there's things that happen in the commercial setting that are almost beyond your control, and you're not going to argue with people. I mean, their perception is their reality, so. But I feel vindicated because I battled that for many years at another restaurant concept where we sold a lot of chicken.
Yep.
And you just, I'll take that off your bill. What can I get you? And they want more chicken. I'm like, well, it's not going to be the same.
Oh, it's like, do you want to do that? You want to go through this again?
Yeah. So how about a burger?
Yeah, please don't order the chicken again.
But anyway.
Anyway, so keep that in mind, that don't always blame the person who's making the chicken, but it has to do whether the chicken was frozen first when they got it. Okay. So kitchen fails. You got a good kitchen fail story? So people can commiserate with us?
Well, so on a personal, so my love of cooking started when I was very, very young, and I was very curious as well. So I was 7. My first kitchen fail was 7. I don't know if that's cool or not, but
it inspired you to stay in the business.
it totally did. So we used to love, as a treat, fresh white bread, toasted, slathered with butter, and cinnamon sugar, right? So just whatever amount of cinnamon sugar, whatever amount of sugar, cinnamon you wanted to add. I love lots of cinnamon. So I decided to do this for my brothers and mostly myself. And after school one day, and I put the bread in the toaster, and I get the cinnamon and the sugar, and I mix it all up, and I put it on the toast, and I eat it, and it's the most disgusting thing I've ever had. My mouth is on fire. I had grabbed cayenne.
One's brown.
Yeah, one's orange, red. But I was 7.
Right.
So I'm totally off the hook. And it's one of the, I didn't finish my little snack, which is unusual for me. But so that would be, as far as I can remember, my very first kitchen fail. And I remember telling my mom I was so disappointed, and she was just like, well, you got to read the labels.
And you do it again.
And you do it again. And I mean, not that we need cinnamon toast sugar after school, but it was, the 70s. So that was a healthy snack back then.
My mother used to mix it up and make it into a cinnamon spread.
Oh,
so it was margarine back in the day.
Oh, yeah, margarine.
Shout out to all the moms with the margarine.
Because it was healthier.
So it was like margarine with sugar and cinnamon, or she'd even do brown sugar and cinnamon, and she'd beat the hell out of it till it's like a spread.
Yeah. We used to buy that.
You could
buy it, like Cinno spread or something. Yeah, and there's a maple spread that's similar to that. But yeah, I've never forgotten that cayenne sugar combo.
I was worried at first that you said you would use salt instead of sugar, because that would have been another
Well, I did that once too.
Oh, okay, see?
So I was at my sister's, and when I was much older, I was actually babysitting my nephew. She was out of town, and I thought, I'm going to whip up this banana bread. But my sister's very homey, so you don't just get a bag of sugar out of the cupboard. You get the container of sugar out of the cupboard, and I didn't realize it was salt.
Oh, and she has a big container of salt like
that?
Yeah.
So she had a container of salt, and she had a container of sugar, and like all their stuff was in different containers. And she used to make her own bread. She still does, by the way, makes her own bread. So flour was in like huge buckets because they went through it. But yeah, I wasn't even paying attention. And I'm one of those horrible people that I actually like batters. Like I always taste the batter. Thank goodness. Because I tasted it, and I was like, oh, and I turned the container around, which was this blue container that she got in Germany. I turned it around, and it said salt, and I'm like, oh. So good, I had to throw it out, but good that I didn't bake it, and good that I tried that raw batter.
Exactly.
Right? Because they poo-poo that, don't they?
That's all that you had to taste it before you.
Yeah, well, they say that that's not a cool thing to do, but I always do. Oh, the raw egg and all that stuff.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Considering how many barely cooked eggs I've eaten over the years.
Well, exactly.
I'm still kicking.
Plus, when we were kids, a very quick breakfast for us was like an egg, milk, a teaspoon of sugar, grated nutmeg into a blender, whipped up, off to school. Like if we overslept or we were busy.
Oh.
So we called it eggnog.
It would be very, you call it like that, but yeah.
But so for me, that was eggnog. So imagine my horror when I got older and I went to someone's house and they said, you want an eggnog? And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know you guys made that. And they poured it out of a carton, and it was like thick, like molasses.
Like,
and
that's
I'm
not eggnog.
That's not breakfast. But yeah, that was...
I never thought of having eggnog for breakfast.
Yeah, but that was just a cup of milk, 1 egg, teaspoon of sugar, and then nutmeg.
I was going to say, essentially, if you would change the milk to a cream, you're almost making a custard.
Yeah. But
right?
see, I didn't know that. Like my mom was maybe ahead of her time. Who knew?
Yeah, who knew?
But that was one of those like, okay, I need to get some breakfast in me. So, that's not a fail, by the way. That was really good. And so we were eating raw eggs when we were kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please. It's not a.
So that doesn't bother me.
Not really concerned. I don't know how many times I've done eggs in a mousse, right? Like, right? It's just barely cooked through.
Or there's a buttercream that comes. An egg yolk in it, and it gives it some shine and some oomph.
Yeah.
I don't tell people that though, because I'm afraid they'll be, oh, I can't have that.
Oh, like Caesar salad dressing?
Yeah. Well, sometimes, but that's so true, right? So sometimes they say, oh, like, what do you do to your icing is just beautiful. I'm like, well, it's a secret. But I'm afraid to tell certain people that there's a raw egg in it. Or yolk, just a yolk.
Just a yolk. Well, the same thing, was you said Caesar salad dressing, right?
Yeah.
But people don't always realize. I always laugh at the people who tell me that they don't eat anchovies.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
people, it's
in Caesar salad, or they have it. Well, that happens in our side of the business too. We have a seafood allergy, and I said, is it shellfish? Is it this? And they went, no, I can't eat any. And I'm like, well, you can't have a Caesar salad. Oh no, I'm fine with that. Oh no, I'm fine with the Caesar. No.
And then you're like, no, then you don't have a seafood allergy. It's you don't like seafood.
You don't like seafood, and you don't even know that the anchovy's in there. Anchovy's salty and good and
funky.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to work at a pizzeria, and we would like always have to like wipe the board off when somebody ordered anchovy, but they love anchovy. It's on their big fillets.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You can chop it up so it's just little bits, but anyway, don't knock
I feel like we
anchovies.
digress.
So I was trying to think of how kitchen fails. Oh my God, I've had so many. But usually I always find someone to still eat them. They're usually like something fell or, right? Like in baking parts. Usually and it's because I'm more of a cook than a baker.
Oh yeah?
I do tend to not measure. And I eyeball things, right? So, yes, So I know that's a big, and then so I'm trying to get better at, especially when I'm working on or tweaking recipes for myself and that I know I'm going to be feeding other people. I really want to make notes on it, so then I'm really paying attention to ingredients. But other than that, it's kind of like I bought them like, oh yeah, so I used to put in a little bit of that and a little bit of that and a little bit of that. Doesn't always work. But for my cooking classes that I used to do, there's where the kitchen fails came in.
Really?
And it was because I was trying to cram in 3 to so many recipes in a matter of 2.5 hours would be the class.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, with a demo kitchen, right? So people are watching me do this. And because I had a lot of regulars, I couldn't have the same classes on an ongoing basis. I had to change them up. So I know that I did try to do, people are always asking for classes on desserts and things like that. And I did a chocolate class once where it was all chocolate desserts. I've done it with wine pairings and without. The with wine pairings is like a sugar bomb overload. And I mean, I was laughing last night. It's usually all women that show up for that one, by the way. But I had, I wanted to do this chocolate tort that I used to make for my dad's birthday, because my dad's like this chocoholic guy. And I used to make him a chocolate cake, and I would do, they cut the layers, so there's 3 layers, so there's 4 different ganaches.
Oh, wow.
So there was like a white chocolate, milk chocolate, dark chocolate, right?
Nice.
So yes, I spoiled him a little bit. Anyways, it was one of those things that I wanted to show people that, okay, the different ganaches is what I was trying to demo. And then for the cake thing, I just said you can use any standard cake. So I thought, I'm going to bake a standard cake thing, and I should have time to show them that. And with all the other stuff in between, and using my freezer, which is I always say freezer is my friend.
Yeah.
Putting the layers and stuff in the freezer to chill it faster so that I could go ahead and ice it, and then we can have the cake at the end of the class. Well, depending on how thick those cakes are, and as much as you feel like they're pucks, they're not always frozen in the center. So of course I'm putting everything in and I'm assembling it quickly, and I threw it back in the freezer to finish chilling it all together so I could do the last crumb coat and everything else. I open up the freezer. I have 12 people sitting in front of me.
Classic.
And there's like this beautiful thing that was about this high, and it was like this.
Oh no.
And I almost to the point that I was almost catching the top layers when I opened up the door. And the funny thing is, those damn people ate that cake anyways.
Oh yeah, they would. For sure they
So
would.
it kind of tipped it up. We all had a big laugh. And I said, that's what happens when I try to do too much in one class. And I put it all on this platter. And they basically slid it around and were taking hunks out of it. And they cleaned up the cake anyways.
Yeah.
But I mean, I made a joke out of it. And it was funny. And this was like the what not to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, I learned my lesson where I made the cake layers ahead of time. And I just gave them the recipe after that.
And yeah, I mean, and that's part of the fun for those people as well, right? Like maybe at the time they were like, ooh, but if they see someone who they think is supposed to be a goddess in the kitchen make a mistake, it can happen to anybody, right? And the weather affects your baking, and the barometer and the humidity and all that stuff affects your baking.
You can't. If anyone ever tells you they do not make mistakes in the kitchen, I don't care, professional chefs, anything, they're lying.
Yeah, why would they? Yeah.
Just like anything in life, you learn from those mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any of your favorite kitchen tips? Like if something happened, you know how to fix it?
If something happens,
like, yeah,
do I
so
know how to
is
fix it? Well,
there something that you would teach new cooks in your kitchen?
Wow, I wasn't prepared for that. So, no, that's cool. I do know that my personal preference for whipped cream, for example, is I like a nice stiff whipped cream. So I like it to almost broken. I know that's crazy, but I love the texture. But if you do break it, I mean, it's just a matter of just adding a little bit more cream, getting a little bit slower in there, and maybe not being so vigorous.
Can you explain to our non-bakers out there what you mean by breaking the whipped cream?
Oh, I'm sorry. So whipped cream, yeah. So 35% cream. You can make butter from 35% cream, right? If you just keep whipping it and whipping it and whipping it, what happens is the milk solids come away, and it happens like that. Like when they say it happens like that, it happens like that. You can just look at it and go, oh, it's almost ready. Go and get your bowl and come back, and it's this flat mess in your bowl, and it looks almost like curdled. So what you would do then, don't throw it out. What you could do then is actually skim those solids off and just keep working it, and you get some butter, fresh, sweet butter. Or you can just add a little bit more cream, and I go slowly to just start to get it incorporated back in, and then you get this whipped cream. But I did that once, and I've never done it again, because I learned that not everybody likes their whipped cream as stiff as I do, so I actually will make it softer for most people, and I eat it that way.
And it all depends on what you're using it for, right? If it's just going to be to go along with cake or something like that, it's one thing.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to be putting it in something like a trifle or something where there's weight required, or I've used it sometimes in the summer because some people don't like a lot of frosting, right? Buttercream. I've actually used whipped cream that's sweetened, with a little bit of vanilla, and used that to frost cake.
And you know what I learned about, so I'm a little bit off topic, is a little bit of milk powder in your whipped cream. So dried like milk powder in your whipped cream will stabilize it.
Okay, as opposed to that stabilizing stuff that you can actually buy it in the grocery store.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that. So I like to watch a lot of celebrity chefs, and that's one of the things I took away from Anna Olsen, to be honest. And so skim milk powder in your 35% cream will stabilize it, and it won't. So it starts to not break down. That's not the right. It starts to lose its air, and it won't do that. It stays nice and firm. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what I have downstairs. I have vanilla powder. But I think it was called Whip It. There's the brand. Shout out to Whip It.
There you go. Yeah.
That's the stabilizer in little packages that you find in the baking section.
And just a little pro tip, like don't use an edible oil if you don't have to. Is that okay? Like the Cool Whip.
Edible oil.
The Cool Whip is like
I love that term, edible oil product.
Yeah. So I mean, it has its purpose, but whenever possible.
If you have to shake it from a can, they do have the real whipping.
They have real whipped cream but it's still, if you can whip your own cream, and anybody can, I think you should.
I leave, and I've told this to people in my classes so much over the years. 35% cream is your friend. It should be in everyone's fridge at all times. I've always tried to explain to people that when you try to think you're cutting back on fat by using a half 10% or something when you're making a cream soup or something, you realize that if you try to put that in when it's too hot, it'll split. Yeah. And that's similar to what she was saying. It'll break. Like it'll just, you'll see it looks like it's curdling. Yeah. Well, technically it is. Yeah. Because there's not enough fat in it to hold it together. So 35% cream. I use it in soups. I use it for sauces.
Pan sauce,
everything
simple.
Is so quick. And because there's more milk solids in it, it actually stays longer in your fridge. It's got a longer shelf life or fridge life. Yep. So I'm constantly. So when I see it on sale, I'm buying more of it. I always have some in my fridge. It's a steal of a deal.
Yep. I learned a pan sauce from my sister, and I was amazed that pork tenderloin cream. It was amazing.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
I was going to say a comment. So for those of you who were in the VIP lounge yesterday, so last night I was finishing up a recipe, and I put sherry in with my mushrooms.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was like sherry and butter. And
see, that's wonderful.
They were good. And it was really hard because I was putting them on a tart, right? That was the whole thing at the end. And I'm thinking, would it be bad if I just like spoon mushrooms food?
No.
And I was mad because I didn't buy. I'm thinking, I should have bought more because now I'm craving more mushrooms.
Oh, I know, I love mushrooms.
Do it back to the store later. Okay, so I have. So I made a list of a few things that people are always kind of saying that this happens to me and what am I supposed to do when? And if you have another suggestion or something else to do with them, you can chime in. Okay, so you burned your cookies. What do you do with them?
Well, if I've only burnt the bottom, I have been guilty of just scraping the part off and then throwing that away. Or you can put that in a food processor and make a cookie crumb. Save it for like decorating a cake or layering pudding.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say was crushing it. Yeah. If you can get away with them, that yes, you can scrape the bottom. and maybe you don't want to serve it as cookie as is. Ice cream sandwiches is a way to.
Oh, yeah.
Just so it hides the scraped bottom.
Good idea.
Was a good one.
Yeah.
But the other one would be crushing it and then using it instead of like a graham cracker, so like a no-bake one, depending on how, if they're already burnt, you don't want to double.
Yeah, as long as the flavor's not there.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, but more about like if they're already cooked and now you're crushing them and you're adding butter and sugar, like don't over bake the crust if you're going to use it like for a base for cheesecake.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of those, everyone's got them and their mother has them, the no-bake cheesecake type recipes. You know, those things with squares. You know, they used to be like this Hawaiian fluff stuff that my grandmother used to make with the crying bomb.
Cherry Delight.
Yeah, cherry, exactly. It's usually
Shout out
things
to
with whipped
Irene.
cream and Jell-O, and I used to actually have an entire cookbook by a brand name Jell-O.
Oh yeah,
and it
that
was
a thing.
Yeah, it was.
We're showing our age a little.
I know. No, it's okay. Cynthia's usually reminding people on a weekly basis, anyways. So that was a big one for that, the cookies. And then I've actually done it where I have extra cookies, even store-bought ones, and I use cookies for crust for cheesecakes and stuff all the time.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like ginger snaps are fantastic with like a pumpkin cheesecake. And so yeah, if you're going to do like a chocolate cheesecake and get indulgent, don't just do a chocolate graham crust. Do like a chocolate chip something or other,
that's a good
right?
idea.
Yeah, to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
So save those cookies and just put them in the freezer, right? If you get a lumpy sauce or a gravy, how do you fix it? Well, you wouldn't have a lumpy one, but usually it's because you put it around too fast.
Yeah, so it depends on what you're thickening with, and you need to have that. Your liquid has to be at a boil, right, in order for the thickener to actually work. But if you do add it too fast, so if you don't make a slurry, slurry, right?
We're gonna have some definitions today.
Yeah, so a slurry is really just a blend of liquid and your thickener. So,
cornstarch and water.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of cornstarch because it's a little more stable. Flour gives you a lot more flavor, though. Like a roux gives you way more flavor.
Hence the reason that gumbos are so popular.
Exactly. So I have strained in the past just to get those lumps out, go back in, re-thicken.
Again, so I've done that in the past too. I like straining it. I have tried to take an immersion blender to it and try to get a lot of the lumps out that way if it happens. Again, it's usually because I was in a hurry, right?
Yeah.
Can I do another name thing? Oh, I don't know if I have a box here kicking around so I can show it. I'll post a picture. Anyways, there's a brand name of a thickener. You know, you buy the Bisto, the gravy thickener. So that's my little shortcut. It's called Velotine.
Okay.
So it's not. So all of my cooking classes, I've always kind of explained to this one. It's made out of a combination of potato and rice starch, so it's always gluten-free.
Oh, cool.
It's free-flowing. It doesn't provide a lot of color. So just about any kind of pan sauce, you can sprinkle this on again when it's boiling.
Okay.
I've never had lumps. It thickens anything. I thickened red wine with it when I just wanted to do a glaze on something. So anyways, it's a good, sits in your cupboard and you don't have to worry about like, what am I thickening? It'll thicken with anything.
Awesome. You're going to post that?
Yes. So I'll post a picture. I'll post a picture of it so you can find it easier. Excuse me. So it'll be in your grocery store where the Bisto and gravy mixes and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, because my mother actually is a fan of the gravy. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's in a jar about this big, and it's actually called Grave, and then 2 E's at the end.
Ooh.
And she couldn't find it. We lived in a small town up north for a few years. She couldn't find it. She actually ordered it from the company. Oh. She got like 6. They were like, "Yeah, we'll send that to you, no problem." And so that's what she's always used for her gravies. It's pretty salty, not gonna lie. So depending on what you're making, if I'm making a dinner for my mom and it's gonna be mashed potatoes with gravy, I know that she's gonna dig that gravy thickener.
Yep.
Normally I would just use like cornstarch, make a slurry thickener up. And you can thicken anything with cornstarch. And you can. It's wonderful.
Yeah. But you got to get in the habit and of taking out the lumps and making that slurry.
Yeah.
The other way the French do it is what's it called? A
beurre blanc, like a Monte au beurre.
So basically you're rubbing butter and flour together into a paste and then working that in. So it's actually working in.
And that's where that flavor comes in. That is decadent, as far as I'm concerned. Like
that's why the French are the master of the sauces.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay, so too spicy. How do you fix it?
Ooh. I don't know because I'm not a big fan of huge spice. So I would probably, I made spicy chili once and I gave it all away. So what's your tip? Because I don't know.
Usually there's 2 things. You either have to add additional ingredients to it. Actually, there's 3 things. So either add additional ingredients to it, so things that are blander. So for chili, I would add in more beans, more things, and then maybe kind of give it a bit of a mash to soak up the salt, the spice a little bit. And pairing it with dairy, just having more like sour cream, like putting sour cream and cheese on top of it.
It's so true.
That will make a big difference. Other than that, it's basically just heads up, people.
It's hot.
It's going to be hot.
Yeah.
Right? And then they can make that call on how they want to.
I made some chili once, and it was too hot for me to really enjoy, and I never even thought of the sour cream because I know that like blue cheese, for example, will cool down a wing sauce.
Yep.
I never even thought of sour cream on it.
Yeah, so dairy, isn't it? So between cheese and sour cream, and that's why spicy Indian dishes, they'll have it with yogurt, right? Yeah. And it's because of that to cool it down so you can
My staff was happy. Here's some spicy chili that I can't eat.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Just like, oh.
There you go.
Again, we're showing our age. Can't eat spicy chili.
I know, right? I like it, but yeah.
So going back to my cakes, I've done this before where you take cake layers, so you're trying to take them out of the pan before you go and frost the cake, and there's chunks that fall off of it. Regardless of what you're planning to do with that cake, I used to do this all the time when I was making those big fancy things. The same frosting that you're going to use to do the crumb coat, which is that first thin coat that you put on the outside of it, just use it as a glue. Yeah. Right? Like just spoon someone that piece the thing and stick it on. Yeah. And then now you're just going to make sure the whole top is, and nobody will notice a thing. Yeah. I mean, if it falls apart to the point where it's in like pieces, that's where I actually have like part cake layers that are in my freezer that I leave that maybe, one of them broke and I didn't need it all, or I made extra and it kind of fell in the center or whatever, right? Because this oven's been giving me grief lately. So little things like that, but I don't get rid of them. I leave them in my freezer, and then those become trifles. Nice. Or like for little parfaits and stuff like that during the summer. Yeah. I actually put like little cubes of cake and stuff almost on skewers with fruit and stuff.
See, that's really nice. Or you grill them. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. So anyways, don't get rid of the cake, but that's one thing. Like, don't be afraid to glue things back
If it's
together.
a chocolate cake, you can give it a whiz and then put it on the side of a cake. Oh, I'm not using my words very well, but there you go. So you make a crumb. Put it in a food processor, get it nice and crummy, and then if you're making, you have a white cake, you can put the chocolate crumb on it.
Smush it on the. Yeah. Smush would be the other word.
Smush would be the other. These are all technical terms. We're going to provide a glossary.
We should make a list of definitions, and if we can get it together in time for the weekend.
Waz it up.
Put it in the show notes.
Yeah, and there's another one. Just we say that in the restaurant all the time. Just give it a.
That's the immersion blender?
Yeah.
We can actually identify certain tools with these.
Exactly, right? It's like,
Oh my God, it's hilarious. Okay, too salty. You're saying if we put too much salt in. Well, I mean, of course, if you use salt instead of sugar.
Well, yeah, that's a definite fail. It's never really happened to me. I've just sort of persevered because I'm okay with salt. But I have heard bread in a soup will help sort of absorb it. But
same thing. Anything bland.
Yeah.
Acid will also balance it out. So if you are adding salt into a pan sauce, adding in some wine, right? Some red wine or white wine or something will help.
Is there nothing wine can't cure?
Nothing. So that will make a big difference. But yeah, adding more bland something or else. So if you were doing some kind of a stew or whatever, add more potato.
Yes.
Right? So stuff like that will help out for a little bit. Sometimes I've had to do that because I love just putting extra salt on things.
Or fleur de sel, all of those are really nice finishing. Like they're good to. Yeah.
I have a little salt collection.
Do you?
I used to. I'll make a little toast like this, and then I'll have olive oil. Excuse me, a little cruet or something, and or a really good butter. Right, like those really good cultured butter. Yeah. And it's just butter, salt, heaven.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
They say that if you were to line up different salts and then do a tasting that way, you would really understand how awesome different salts can be. Then you would probably never use the iodized like that.
No, the only time I use that is for salting water.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
But unless you do that little experiment, and then that, that little experiment is pretty cool when you try different salts and you're like, wow, there is a difference in the salts.
Ooh, I want to do a salt tasting class.
We should do that.
Yeah, that'll be
seasoning.
Fun. Yeah. Yes. But so yes, any acid. So if you don't want to add wine, lemon juice.
Yeah.
Right. Tomatoes, of course, are acidic.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to crush tomatoes into something, if your chili, as an example, turned out too salty, or too spicy, so adding in more, like if you wanted to put crushed tomatoes in that.
Oh, smart.
Right. See, that would work too. So if you get a cake, so if you're making your banana bread, you're talking about right in your loaf pan, and the damn thing doesn't come out because you didn't take the time to line it with parchment paper.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Parchment paper is a godsend.
It is.
So if you didn't take a time to, or you thought it was a fairly new one, it wasn't going to make a problem, and it's not coming out. Usually, what I suggest doing is cut that first slice and try to take that one out.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be slicing the damn loaf anyways.
Good idea.
And then you should have room to stick your spatula underneath and then give it to sort of work it underneath to get the rest of it out.
So that's really, really cool.
And if not, again, keep taking pieces out as you need to and then freeze the rest and use it for whatever. But just, yeah.
Banana bread French toast is really good.
Yeah,
I know. Or banana bread pudding.
I know. So, bread pudding is really
Yeah.
good to do that. Yeah, we made banana bread French toast, and we did a walnut maple syrup with it.
Oh. Should we do a breakfast show?
It was
Sorry.
it was so heavy though.
Oh, it would be. It totally would be.
You can't eat like a plate full of it, but it's just something else.
And I would just caution that no matter what you think, if you have a non-stick, a silicone, just use the parchment paper. Just use it.
I always take a cooking spray
Yep.
of some sort, and I'll do that regardless if it's nonstick.
Yep.
Parchment paper on top of that.
Yeah, you have to.
And it's just right.
It just saves.
And it saves your pan, and
Yeah.
it saves cleaning.
Yeah.
Spend enough time in the kitchen, you'll know that you'll always look for cleaning shortcuts.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the other times I'll actually use it for even foil. Even on cookie sheets when I'm putting things in the oven, I'll put parchment paper underneath it.
Yep.
I have my silicone mats.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're doing things on very high heat.
Yeah.
Right? And it's sticky, like
Yeah.
wings and stuff.
Yeah.
You need to put that.
Yeah, I
on
don't.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, avocados. This is one everyone keeps asking me because as much as they are always on sale, they seem to be only on sale at the grocery stores when they are little hockey pucks.
Yeah.
And they are too hard. Yes.
Too hard.
So, it's only the ones that are in the netted bags that are on sale because the individual ones they're charging like $4 a piece for, right?
Yeah.
Because those ones are the ones that are riper. So a lot of times I think what they do is they take the ripe ones out of some of the bags and then they probably put them and sell them that way.
Probably.
But the ones in the bags have, they just need a little help. So I wouldn't say shy away from them, but don't expect to be using them necessarily that night. It almost needs a day. So paper bag is the big thing. And then a banana. Banana, I guess, and avocado, both because they let off gases. That's the technical explanation. But if you put the banana in the paper bag, and a lot of people don't have paper bags anymore.
Right.
If you're in Ontario, LCBO bags work.
Oh my, that's true.
Right? There's paper bags right there. So I usually kind of save them for those kind of things that if I need to put something in a paper bag to help it ripen faster, that usually will make
So I didn't realize avocado would be the same. Pears, my mother does that with pears.
Yep. So paper bags. So save
Awesome.
those LCBO bags, people. And then the last one has to do with catching on fire. If you saw the promo video, we're doing it. I tend to, I have no problem. Still scares the crap out of Norm when I'm putting alcohol in something on the stove. And it just happens. Sometimes I'm pouring alcohol in it and it's just like a drop of a sauce or something will come out over the pan.
Yeah.
And of course, because I have a gas stove, right?
Yeah.
It gets fire. I pull the pan away, I put a lid on it quickly or a cookie sheet and whatever's nearby and it's fine. Or sometimes I've just sort of pulled, I'm surprised my ceilings are okay. I've just pulled it away and I've just sort of wait 2 minutes.
Yeah, it'll go.
Because the alcohol burns off.
Yeah.
But you don't see his face when he's...
Well, if they're not used to it, for sure,
like,
right?
What?
Yeah.
And I went, no, it's okay. It's supposed to do that. So it's not a big deal. Or sometimes Anyways, he gets panicked. He's opening patio doors and... it's
it's scary. It can be scary for sure.
So there's all these things about putting like baking soda. Depending, if you had a little bit of flameage and having baking soda is one thing, but nobody ever has a little spark of a flame when something catches fire.
No, like it's
either big fire or no fire.
Yeah.
So I never suggest this whole baking soda thing. Yes, I may have some in my cupboard or my fridge that I use for baking, but I rarely ever would use it for that. The best thing to do is putting a lid on it.
Yeah, cover it.
Smother it.
Smother it.
So that's basically you're smothering it. So just don't use, like I don't have any out right now, but I have pot lids that have glass. So you can see them. I wouldn't put the glass ones on top.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's, again, glass is a conductor, but it's not only going to be hot, but it could shatter.
Yeah.
Which
that's
would
true.
be worse. You'd have flames and glass.
Flames and shards of glass.
Shards.
Yeah.
Exactly. It would just explode. And
that would be call the Avengers.
But it's a sign of the times that we have to stop and talk about Avengers Endgame.
I do occasionally. I like to deep fry chicken wings at home, but I don't have a deep fryer. So I just get a pot of oil, but I always keep a cookie sheet.
See, and I do my wings in the oven. You still deep fry yours?
I like them deep fried.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But I do. I just don't get them as crispy in the oven.
That's true.
But there is a method. Apparently, if
Cornstarch.
Cornstarch, yeah, but it gets a little salty in me, or I think baking powder will do the same thing.
Yep.
The other thing too is if you put them in an oven at a very, very low temperature to help render some of the fat out of the chicken wings, and then you increase the temperature, that's a lot of time.
It is.
And a lot of work
for some wings. I just put them in the oven as is. I'll put a lot of seasoning and stuff on them. Drizzle with a little bit of vegetable oil, that kind of thing. And then I just, crank up that heat. Let it go.
And don't get me wrong, like I would eat those. There are no bad chicken wings in my book. But, so occasionally I will deep fry, but because I have a healthy respect for that on the stove, because even though I know what I'm doing, things can get away from you, or something could, and I just keep a cookie sheet out, like similar to what you have there, and you just
when I'm frying something, I'm standing. I leave the door open when I'm deep frying here, and it's also so my house doesn't smell like a fire.
There's that. There's that, yeah.
Because you can never. Doesn't matter what time of day I do it, and of course I have 2 kitchens here. So even when I used to do it for the catering business downstairs, I didn't deep fry a lot. That was not.
No, it's not
a big fryer thing. But sometimes I would be frying things ahead of time so I can finish it off off site, and I would be frying things down here, and I swear to God, it's for like a week that you can still walk in the house and notice it.
Yeah.
I remember there was a couple of kids that, there was one kid in particular my son used to hang around with in grade school. And I could always tell what that kid ate for dinner based on when he showed up at the house. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I'll say, I guess you ate already? And he looked at me and he go, yeah, my mom made chicken fingers. Oh, I can tell.
Yeah.
I can smell them. So anyways, my last little piece of advice is the easiest one. If you don't tell anybody that you made a boo-boo, nobody knows.
That is so true.
Right?
It's true.
So I used to have a bad habit, because of course I feed people for a living, that they would say, oh, this is really good. And I would say, oh, great. I'm glad you liked it. Because you know what? This is not the way I wanted this. And then it's a habit when you're a perfectionist that you're oversharing.
Virgo.
Yeah. Just stop.
Yeah.
And I've always had to tell them, great. Glad you like it.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'll joke around with either myself or I'll tell Norm or somebody else afterwards, like, hey, that was nothing like I was planning.
Yeah.
But if you planned on having a cake and you decide to make a trifle, just say, you know what? I decided we're going to kick it up a little bit. So I soaked the cake in alcohol and added some stuff and I made you this instead.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to know what you were planning to do and how you're planning to serve it.
Yeah, so that's a good one.
So you make your kitchen fail and no fail.
Exactly. That's a really...
And then there's that, if Cynthia was here, she would have been talking about that Nailed It show. I've tried desperately to watch it myself and I can't get into it.
I think I've seen a couple of little snippets on YouTube videos where they try to replicate things. Yeah, I don't have an artistic bone in my body, so I don't think I'd be able to do that with the fancy buttercreams and stuff like that. I mean, I can make a rosette. I mean, I can make a cake.
I just have no desire to watch other people fail.
No.
It's just not my...
No, that's cool.
It's
very positive of you.
Well, it's just watching it. I don't know. I tried because everyone kept talking to me about it. And like, oh, did you do the Nailed It show? There, because we were talking about maybe we'd do that for a live show.
Oh.
Right? Kind of do like a Nailed It type thing. But we don't have to do cakes necessarily, but I think it'd be kind of fun to do like little appetizers or do whatever, and they have to copy us in the kitchen. And then I was thinking, oh no, like if I can't watch, I can't sit through it.
Yeah.
But it's popular for a reason, so whatever. Good for them. Anyways, I mentioned earlier about the VIP lounge. That's where I was showing me doing those mushrooms last night. But to be part of the VIP lounge, you need an entry code, and this is May. Finally, it's May.
Finally May.
Yes.
I didn't wear a coat today.
Yeah, I know. I haven't. I am determined. Aside from putting little sockettes on, I am trying not to put socks on either.
I know, it's been a long time.
I know. So you need an entry code to get in that VIP lounge on Facebook. So just look up FFFVIP in your search bar, and you'll see us pop up. You could request to join the club, and it's going to say what is the entry code for this month. So for the month of May, so as long as you are logging in that during this month, the code is going to be flowers. Yay! So once you log in, then you're in, and then you can see me making mushrooms for my tarts. Sometimes I'm doing stuff and then giving you the recipes for them after. Sometimes it's a quick little wine tip. Sometimes Cynthia's attempting something that we talked about in the show in her kitchen with her kids. There's little things here and there. I am trying to I got to remind Stacy, because she promised she was going to do this in the last show. She knows how to make those animals out of towels.
No way.
Yes, I don't know why she knows. She knows the weirdest things.
She does know the weirdest things. It's a true story, and I don't even know her that well, and I know that about her.
Anyways, it
Yes.
just it makes me giggle.
Yeah.
So she mentioned that she knows how to make the, and
That's
I told
fun.
her, so she goes, well, I'll just post pictures. I said, no, I want you to post a video on
it
how
has
to
to be a
make the
video.
towel animal. But we're only putting it in the VIP lounge, so you have to be there for that.
Hey, can somebody show us how to do really fancy napkins for
She
dinner
well,
parties?
she could probably do that too.
Probably do. Yeah.
Somebody else was showing me how to do those.
Yeah.
But that would be another one. Anyways, we
Yeah.
always, but those are the kind of things we always try to post them in there because those are regular viewers or regular
Yeah.
listeners. So we keep that on the Facebook page, sharing recipes and that kind of thing. And sometimes they're behind the scenes things, right? Of stuff like little clips that don't make the show, like some of our tangents that you're not necessarily seeing on this episode that'll end up showing up at the VIP lounge at some other point, which is funny. Anyways, in the meantime, make sure you rate and subscribe to us on iTunes or Spotify or whatever podcast player you're listening to us on. If you're watching us on YouTube, just hit the subscribe button. That helps us out as well. It's not just because we like the adoration, but it's also because it just helps us move up the search rankings so that other food and drink lovers can find us too. And that's it. We got some eating to do.
Yeah, we do.
And then we'll send pictures to the girls and show them what they make.
Yeah.
All right.
Smart up.
Okay,
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, Steph.
Thanks so much for watching this video. We love putting it together. It's so much fun. All of our favorite things, good food, good drinks, a lot of travel talk, and we put it all together in one fun show. So make sure you follow us here, click on the videos below, follow, subscribe, and find us on your favorite podcast player. We'll see you on our next trip.